because there's nothing bigger than them. There's their video game. There's their sneakers, their clothing, their friends, what they want to do. There's nothing bigger than them. This poor woman had nowhere to go, nothing she could say. She just said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. That's all she said. And she didn't even have one ally on the bus, not one person. Not one of these kids had the courage of their conviction to say, what is that? We don't think that there is anybody on the bus who had any conviction. Nobody felt badly about it. No remorse. No mercy. You wonder how the Germans rounded up the Jews? Well, it starts this way, where you don't see another human being as a human being. They have no concept of right and wrong, good or bad. No one even cared enough to say, okay, all right, guys. Here's this poor defenseless woman just sitting there getting torn to shreds like she's being ravaged by a pack of wolves. We could lament on this all day, or we could do something about it. Now, right now, people are raising money. I don't know how money fixes this problem. They wanted to send her on a nice vacation. Already, people in the country have raised $128,000 for her. $128,000. That's one sweet-ass vacation. But does that fix anything? I mean, is money what this is about? I guess it's our way of saying we're not all like this. And it's a good thing. I want her to know we're not all like this. My gosh, I watched this yesterday and I just wanted to hug this woman. Now, how do we take a step beyond just giving money? How do we make sure that your kids, well, my kids wouldn't do that. Bull crap, your kids wouldn't do that. My kids could do that. All of our kids are doing. You know why? Because they're all human. They're all human. And unless we've prepared them for these kinds of circumstances, they will do it, or they will just remain quiet. How much happens in our kids' lives that is a completely different culture? Our kids are schizophrenic. Our kids live in one culture, and then they come home, and they live in another culture. And you endorse their culture at school every time you turn on the TV. Because you're watching it, and you think, this is crazy. Well, my kids know better. No, they don't. That's the culture they're immersed in all day long. You're endorsing that culture. So what do we do? How do we prepare our kids that if they see something like this happening, they make sure they have the integrity, the humanity to do their best to stop it? Love them. Be with them. Meet with them weekly, one-on-one. Pray with them. They can't do that at school. Make sure prayer is a part of their lives at home. Read the scriptures together. Feed their spirits. It's as important, if not more important, than feeding their body. Feed their spirit and their body. Play with them. Do service for others with them. Regulate their gaming time. I swear to God, I am going to take all of the electronics out of my house and I am going to throw them out. My kids are so freaked out. We're going on vacation in 2 weeks. There's no cell service. We're going up into the Rocky Mountains. There's no cell service. There's no telephone. There's no electricity where we're going for 10 days. They are so freaked out. What are we going to do? I don't know. Probably go crazy. I am so close to throwing out everything in my house. Really am. No electronics. We have to know our kids' friends, know how they're doing in school, know what they're learning, learn it with them, correct it for them, know what's important to them, know how they're feeling, where they're going, when they'll return, teach them about responsibility, teach them that you are held accountable for your actions. Remember, we have a hip happening president of the United States who once taught this super classic lesson to the children of our country.
I've got two daughters, 9 years old and 6 years old. I'm going to teach them, first of all, about values and morals.
Yes.
But if they make a mistake, I don't want them punished with a baby.
Oh, of course not. Mr. President, I'm sorry. You might be one super fine parent. You really might. But that's one of the crappiest messages I've ever heard. And sadly, it wasn't your family. You taught it to the entire world. Well, we have to accept the responsibility for our own children. We have got to correct the misperceptions that they have, whether they got it from the president, the teacher, their friends, or even us yesterday. Today's a new day. There is accountability. You are responsible for your actions. I got news for you. These were my kids. I would go to the local sheriff and I say, I want you to scare the living crap out of my kid. I want you to come over to my house and arrest them and put them in jail. Put them in jail, please. Please put them in jail. But you know what happened? In this damn society, it's so upside down, I'd be put in jail. They'd try to take my kids away for trying to teach them there are consequences. I'd want scared straight happening with my kids. If my kid was on that bus, good God in heaven, my kid wouldn't be able to sit down for 6 weeks. We all must understand there are consequences to our actions. We have to make sure that our kids are loved and they understand consequences. And then maybe we could return to the decency of Mayberry without the ugliness of To Kill a Mockingbird.